Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the World AI Show. And right now, we're on our keynote on AI in healthcare and pharma, a view of the future. Well, we're joined by Dr. Rashmi Hegde, VP Medical Affairs, Cipla, who's joining us. An accomplished leader in pharmaceutical laws and safety regulations in health technology, precision medicine, big data, and real-world evidence data from the commercial and regulatory compliance perspective and its applications to clinical studies and new product development. Thank you so much, Dr. Rashmi, for joining us today live at the World AI Show. With this, I pass on the stage and screen to you.
Good morning, Bhavna. Thank you for the kind introduction. Good morning and good afternoon, dear colleagues. It is indeed a great pleasure to be here with you today at the World AI Show Malaysia 2021. I would like to thank the organizers, TRESCON, for the kind invitation. To begin today's talk, I would like to talk about two data points which show us the future of healthcare. I suppose you can see my slides, right?
No, Rashmi, we're not able to see your slides.
Okay, fine. Can you see it now?
It's loading. Just allow us a moment. Yes, just in the presentation mode, if you can do it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so my slides are visible now?
Yes, Dr. Rashmi. Okay.
So two of the data points, as I was saying, that are important and which talk to us about the future of healthcare and pharmaceuticals in the world. This is the first slide, and this is a slide on the death rates in different populations across the world between the years of 1950 and 2017. And what we can see is that there is a reduction in child mortality less than 5 years of age. And there is an increase in the number of people living above the age of 60 years. As important as the improvement in death rates or the reduction in death rate is another parameter which we call the healthy life expectancy. Healthy life expectancy is basically older people, older age people with chronic diseases like hypertension, diabetes, and cancer, having a good quality of life. The second data point is the efficiency of pharma. How have pharmaceutical drug discovery and research and development evolved in the last 60 years? So what we can see here is the graph of between 1950 to 2010, what have been the new drug discoveries, how many drugs have been brought to the market. And we can see that in the current time, to develop one new drug actually costs over $2 billion. And there is a 92% failure in clinical trial rate. That means we are getting fewer and fewer drugs, new drugs to the market. On the other hand, we are seeing that the value of artificial intelligence in drug discovery is growing 1 to 2 times of what it was 5 years ago. And it is expected in the next 10 years to grow 5 to 10 times of what it is now. And in keeping with the role of AI and technology in healthcare and drug discovery, we can see that we have an equal number of technology companies which are now operating in the healthcare as well as in the pharmaceutical market. So we can see that a lot of pharmaceutical companies have tied up with technology companies to help bring new drugs to the market. So what is the role of technology in healthcare? We've seen that conventional drug discovery takes over 10 years and costs over $2 billion. What we need is faster and cheaper medicines. The second important lever is, as we discussed, improving healthy life expectancy in those with chronic illnesses like cancer, diabetes, and hypertension. Healthy life expectancy will ensure that disease is arrested or halted before it starts. So we use proactive measures to halt disease, as well as in patients who have the disease, we postpone death or we postpone disease morbidity. The third important lever is an improved healthcare patient care access system. So patients should have easy access to care, to hospitals, to drugs, and also a better system for delivery of patient care. Now, these three levers become possible through the use of technology. The first thing that technology requires to do in these cases is to make a lot of data visible to help us to understand healthcare data in patients. We also hope that technology will help us to bring about disruptive changes through robotic surgery and in silico trials using artificial intelligence and machine learning. The ultimate aim of all this is to move from the treatment of illness to the sustenance of wellness in patients. What we see here is the global healthcare artificial intelligence market. And we can see that there are investments right now which are happening and which are going to happen in important areas that we discussed already, like medical robotics, Internet of Things in healthcare, clinical trials, and in precision medicine. To give you some examples of the artificial intelligence healthcare landscape, the US artificial intelligence healthcare market is growing at a compounded annual growth rate of 38%. There is an exponential increase in healthcare data. In fact, healthcare data doubles every 73 days. And we can see that there are important collaborations which help us to understand this data. For example, the National Health Services in the UK is collaborating with Google to use AI to diagnose and to treat retinal diseases, that is, diseases of the eye in patients. Similarly, we now know that visual pattern recognition software is 5 to 10% more accurate than the best physician in diagnosing disease. So we can see visual pattern recognition software being applied to X-rays and CT scans to diagnose disease early. There are also organizations, technology organizations, which are working in the area of clinical decision support artificial intelligence. One of the examples that I can give you is that 2 to 8% of the patients who come to the US emergency department in hospitals with heart attacks are missed. And we now have biomarkers which can detect these patients with critical heart attacks and give us the results in minutes. So if I was to be asked on what are the applications of healthcare, I would divide it into these four buckets. The first is process efficiency. As we said, there is huge amount of data and we need to make sense of this data. We need to find the needle in the haystack. And this is possible through applying the artificial intelligence and machine learning processes to look at the different data that is available, to archive the data, and to improve the administrative tasks. Similarly, analysis of this data brings visibility to this data, and we can get insights on the disease as well as on the treatment of this disease. The goal of all this is to achieve the personalized, preventive, and precise medicine therapy, both through drug discovery and through patient care. Regulators all over the world are, putting themselves in position to to achieve this new normal. And these are some of the steps that the US FDA has taken in the last 5 to 7 years. So first and foremost, they've put in place a framework known as the Digital Health Innovation Action Plan. They also now have a pre-certification program for the digital health tools, which helps to bring these tools very quickly to the market. And they have outlined the regulations for software as a medical device. All these will ultimately help to bring newer therapies very quickly to the market. With all new change, with all new progress comes challenges. And similarly, with the use of AI, there are challenges. There are challenges in data standardization, data integrity, regulations and governance of this data, as well as data privacy regulations. And equally importantly, it is important to state what is the problem, that is, what is the patient unmet need, which we have to solve for. And also we have to know where to look for these answers in the exponential healthcare data that is being made available to us currently. So this is my last slide, and I will talk to you a little bit about our experience with AI and digital in India. So we worked with AI to bring a point of care diagnosis for patients of hypothyroidism. So traditionally, a patient of hypothyroidism would come to the doctor. The doctor would suspect the disease and ask him to do a blood test. And in remote areas, what would happen is the patient would do the blood test and go away and probably walk 10 miles to his or her home. And then the patient would be lost to follow up. We now have a point of care device which can diagnose hypothyroidism in these patients and provide an answer within 30 minutes. Similarly, we are working with iMedrix for a remote ECG monitoring device, which can help follow up patients with heart disease. Cipla is big in the area of respiratory disease, in the area of use of inhalers in respiratory disease. And we found that 30% of patients do not use their inhaler correctly, which gives rise to increased number of acute asthma attacks leading to hospitalization. We now have a smart inhaler in place, which helps to track the patient's adherence to the medication as well as his technique of using the inhaler. And this helps to reduce 30% of acute hospital admissions due to asthma. In the area of diabetes, we are looking at algorithmic solutions to help patients manage their diabetes better. So we're layering patient behavioral, medication, diet, exercise, genetic data, and we have a chat bot which guides the patient on both diet, exercise, as well as use of therapy. And with this, we found that patients' control of diabetes is much better. Of course, in the recent times, what we've seen is artificial intelligence, which is used in the area of drug discovery, has helped companies to repurpose drugs and bring new COVID treatments to the market in a period of 6 months to 1 year. So we have drugs like remdesivir, favipiravir, molnupiravir, all of which have been brought to the market in a period of 6 months after the disease first occurred. And this has been possible through the use of artificial intelligence. Similarly, the COVID vaccines, which have been brought to the market in a space of 1 year after the disease was rampant across the world, have been brought to the market because of platform technologies which have been used to quickly help to provide data and real world evidence studies on these vaccines. So that was my last slide. Thank you for a very patient hearing, and I wish you all a very good day.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rashmi, for that great, insightful session right there.